When you escape the stifling pace of city life and take refuge in a forest, what is the first thing you do? Take a deep breath. You feel how clean and fresh the air is. Behind this feeling lies the basic knowledge we learned in school. Trees and plants produce oxygen and consume carbon dioxide. They are the lungs of the earth. This statement is absolutely true, but it is also incredibly simplified. The process by which trees produce oxygen is not a simple exchange, but the story of a complex and magical transformation that shaped our planet's atmosphere for billions of years, making life itself possible. Let's go back about 3 billion years. Back then, the Earth was a very different place than it is today. The atmosphere was a toxic mixture of carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen. Oxygen was almost non-existent. Microscopic single-celled organisms called cyanobacteria emerged in the oceans. These humble creatures won an evolutionary lottery, the ability to use sunlight to produce their own food from water and carbon dioxide, or photosynthesis. And as a byproduct of this process, they began to release oxygen, which had previously been a toxic waste product for the planet, into the atmosphere. For millions of years, these tiny bacteria pumped oxygen into the atmosphere. This event, known as the Great Oxidation Event, changed the fate of the planet forever. Oxygen filled the atmosphere, rusted the iron in the oceans, and, most importantly, paved the way for the evolution of more complex oxygen-breathing life. The story of every molecule of oxygen we breathe today begins with these tiny pioneers in the oceans. Trees and other land plants are the present-day carriers of this ancient legacy. They are the planet's giant biochemical engines, continuing the work begun by cyanobacteria on a much larger scale and with much greater efficiency. As we explained in our previous story, photosynthesis is the heart of this process. But let's take a closer look inside this factory. Our hero is a single chloroplast inside the leaf of a majestic oak tree. This is a microscopic organelle where photosynthesis takes place. Inside, green pigments called chlorophylls are like antennas waiting to catch photons from the sun. When sunlight hits the leaf, chlorophyll absorbs this energy and uses it to convert it into chemical energy. This energy is used to break down water molecules, H2O, coming from the roots. This splitting releases hydrogen and oxygen atoms. This is the key moment. The tree uses these hydrogen atoms to combine with carbon dioxide, CO2, taken up through the leaf's pores, stomata, and as a result produces its own food, sugar or glucose. But what about the oxygen atoms left over from the breakdown of water? They are an extra that the tree does not need in this chemical equation. They are waste for the tree. And the tree releases this waste product, an oxygen molecule, O2, made up of 2 oxygen atoms, back into the atmosphere through the stomata. So a tree doesn't actually produce oxygen for us consciously. It expels a byproduct of producing its own food. But this waste is a matter of life and death for all animal life on our planet. A single large tree can provide the daily oxygen needs of 4 people in one day. Giant forests like the Amazon rainforest regulate the planet's climate and atmospheric balance by removing billions of tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere each year and releasing billions of tons of oxygen in its place. That's why it's not an exaggeration to call them the lungs of the earth. But there's another side to the story. Just like us, trees respire to obtain energy. In the process, they burn some of the sugar they produce with oxygen to obtain energy and release carbon dioxide into the air. Fortunately, on a sunny day, the amount of oxygen a tree produces through photosynthesis is many times greater than the amount of oxygen it uses through respiration. The net result is a huge gain in oxygen for the planet. When you walk through a forest, don't just see the trees, branches, and leaves. See there hundreds of thousands of biological machines, carrying the legacy of billions of years of evolution, converting the light of the sun into chemical energy and releasing generously into the air that vital waste that allows us to breathe. Remember that every breath you take is a gift from that silent and magical transformation that takes place inside a leaf.
The Door to Knowledge, presented by Toyer TV. Don't forget to take your place on this path of discovery and enlightenment.